Hey people, I found some really great stuff and this is going to be a really great show. So this is a 1752 painting of Drusilla seated next to her second husband Felix. So if you look in the picture, you could see on each side here they're holding fast. So it's telling you it's a fascist government. You see them in the Senate, they'll be on each side. And you see on his head he's wearing the crown of laurel. It means Lars is rule. It means he wasn't born a king. It means he fought for it. He was either fought and won it or was elected. You see I got a couple court stenographers here and the prosecutor over here. And you see this man in chains. He's got this one hand. And so he's telling him consent or affirmo. And maintain consent. I consent to the God above. And you see this man here, his face, that's the same face you'll see in all the Jewish art of the miser. You can see he's doing the same old hand rub. The face of the miser. So Drusilla was said to be from 38 AD to 78 AD, lived 40 years. And the writings about her said that her father had betrothed her to, what a name, Gaius Julius Archelaus Anti. Anti is like an alias, Antiocephus. Epiphanes or Epiphanes, and he was the first son of the king of Comanche, and with the stipulation from her father that Epiphanes should embrace the Jewish religion. So the marriage had still not been contracted on her father's death in 44. According to Josephus, on his death the populace cast such reproaches upon the deceased as are not fit to be spoken of, and so many of them were then soldiers, which were a great number, went to his house and hastily carried off the statues of his daughters, and all at once carried them into the brothels. And when they had set them on the brothel roofs, they abused them to the utmost of their power, and did such to them as are too indecent to be related. So it's so bad we can't even talk about what they had done to it. And so her brother broke off her engagement and gave her in marriage to Gaius Julius Azizus. And it's strange that they should have the same name. And so that makes me think that there's more to this story. And it's said to be written about in the book of Acts 24:24. And so Josephus says, Soon the Gynaki, which has been interpreted as with his wife, or alternatively with the woman named Drusilla. But S-U-N, probably soon, the T-H-E, the Gyna, the woman key, give, the Gyna key. Soon you will put out. So I was reading back in that chapter, Amos 9, the restoration of Israel. And I told you in a movie or two ago, it talks about Ethiopians as Cassius, which is, is Cassiopeia. Not Ethiopia, but Cassiopeia. And was the queen of Ethiopia. So when it says, are not like the sons of the Ethiopians, the Cassius. And so there was other things I was reading here, and it was talking about, it was pointing to all of these constellations, Andromeda and Cassiopeia and Pegasus, the winged horse. And they're all sitting here right here beside Pisces. Pegasus, Andromeda, Cassius, and the rock up there is Cephas, and that's said to be the other her dad. And then I ran to this, and it looks more like Jonah than the word Jonah. I think they just spelled Jonah, June. Sometimes it's the same. They call dove June, but it's then seeing, Ocini, then seeing, and then hits the wall and reads backwards, Ninjoene, Jonah. And so I went to looking up in Jonah and reading on that. So everybody knows the unbelievable story about Jonah and the whale. And you see in the Hebrew it's spelled with an Iune or June, June. And there's much argument as to whether they knew the difference between a fish and a mammal. There was no fish, a whale shark is a fish, but it only has a 4-inch throat and it couldn't have swallowed a man. But where I was reading, it says then seeing in Jonah, and then backwards starts with A, in the day, D-A-Y, have, in mammal, ka, in the mammal soul. And that's what had me look into this more. And so all the old religions had this same story, except in Islam, the timing is different. And their writings was more accurate. And they say that, Jonah was important in Islam as a prophet who was faithful to God. And he's one of the 12 minor prophets in the Quran. They say Jonah is called the Dul Nun, meaning the one of the fish. The Da, is when they say it's the first day, be the one. But in Hebrew they say the dag is the fish. And so their story's a little bit different, and there's more accurate writings about it. And the Quran never mentions his father. And so that makes me believe that it's not a man. And that Jonah was from the tribe of Benjamin. And I know the Bang man is the timekeeper. And this, I believe, is Saturn. So the census of mainstream biblical scholars holds that the contents of the book of Jonah are entirely ahistorical. And in the Latin, when you put a in front of something, it means not. But here, many scholars regard the book of Jonah as an intentional work of parody or satire. The whole Bible is a book of parody or satire. And it says it here in Genesis 2, in the Garden of Eden, and planted Yahweh God a garden in Eden. And you look in the Greek and it says, in God planted a paradise on. So right now you're saying, well, what the hell's all this got to do with Drusilla? She was from 38 AD to 78 AD. And so I was reading in this book, Isaiah 65, of judgment and promises. And that's what this whole story was about the judgment. He's the judge, and he promised his daughter. But you say, well, this book Isaiah, though, it's older than that. And so, maybe so. But they say, the first of the later prophets in the Hebrew, the major prophets in the Christian Old Testament, is identified by a superscription as the words of the 8th century BC, prophet Isaiah ben Amos. But there's an extensive evidence that much of it was composed during the Babylonian captivity and later. And Johann suggests that in 1775 that the book contained works of 2 prophets separated by more than a century. And so they're saying that Isaiah is a 2-part book, and chapters 1 through 33 was the first prophet, and this was later added to it. And they say this is because, the beginning of the book is prophecies, and then later, 56 to 66, is return from the exile. And they say it's different words used in different writing styles. So in this parody of 65, they interpret it as, I was sought by not those who did ask for me. I was found by not those who did seek me. I said, here I am, to a nation not that was called by my name. What this actually says is Drusilla, and it's a parody, and it's making fun of Drusilla that has been on top of the saloons, and so they were hating her dad so much that they probably had many poems about her written in the saloon. But it says this NDR, and this is probably where your word under come from. Under, if you want to look under a girl's dress, you have to undress. NDRS, undress. And so Drusilla, saloon from Satilla. And so it's a poem making fun of Drusilla. Drusilla, saloon from Satilla. In fishing. You see, those who did seek me is B, N, N, Q, S, N, I. N, I is ing. S, sha, shen. N, Q is fa. P, H, S, H, N, I, fishing. And you see this word only comes up one time. To seek, sought, gone fishing. And everything in this category has the BQS in it. BQS. Whole bunch of words, BQS. When you gone searching, you gone fishing. Sought. Seek. In fish to. Drusilla. Saloon from Satilla. In fishing. It Rama, backwards starts with the A. It Rama, Rama, to see into. In fishing it to see into. Honey, honey, of jug who, lure, L-O, and then backwards, A-R, the lure. The lure, crave, Q-R-A-V-S. The lure craves when you're fishing. Honey, honey, of the jug who lure craves me. Jug, you're using a jug. In a saloon, a jug would be a bottle of liquor, is the lure who craves me. And so this old whore, her nickname is Drusilla. Like Godzilla. Drusilla, the saloon from Satilla. In fishing, it's seeing. Honey, honey, of jug who lure craves me. This is the word I was searching for where I run into this. It's down here at 7. Their work former is the poets resign. This SNE is the same word they used for years. When it says from 40 years, it says from job resign. But it says your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, says Yahweh, that who have burned incense on the mountain and on the hills blasphemed me. Therefore I will measure their work former into their bosom. What it actually says is the antics, your antics, to own it. Own up to your antics. To make it of jihad to, JHDU, a holy war. To make it to a holy war, a jihad to, Rama, CNU. The raised father to, this is your word for father right here, Q, PH, tet, THR, father, to all, mire the here is. We all admire what we hearing about them, backwards and forwards. MIRE, the ERIS, mire the here is. And all to a veg gave out harpoony. Harpoony, that's something you do to a whale. Or a harpoony is the word we use, as in harpoony tang. And all to a veg gave out harpoony. And made it typo, let's resign. And made typo, let's resign. And messed up the writings and made typo, let's resign. All from fee chicks. All from fee chicks. So I was searching for a word, and I found this old book on Google Books, the Catholic Encyclopedia, and it's a free book because it's over 100 years, 1910. And I run into this here in Lent, and it says Lent, the Teutonic word Lent, which we employ to denote the 40 days fast preceding Easter. And so that's the Teutonic. If you watch my movies, I talk about Teutonic is in that 400-year-old encyclopedia. I left a link on many of my movies. It says the Teutonic was the first language. And that's the one I'm saying they call Hebrew. It's actually Teutonic, and they say that's the first language that the English and the German come from. And they say all other languages come from that. But yeah, Teutonic means it's TEU, means to shape. In the ancient, in 22 letters, they had shapes, and you could shape a meaning. But they also had a tonic. They also had a tone. And so they try to say that there is no vowels in Hebrew, and that's why they sound so silly when they try to read it, because there is vowels in it. When you don't see vowels, it's shorthand, and the one letter is a word, because it's Teutonic. And this is a U, and this is a I, and this is the O. And this is a E. And this is a A. You still have your same vowels we use in English today. And here's that word I was talking about, from job, resign. 40 years. It starts with an A, so it reads backwards, M. And so it's from J-O-B, from job. R-A-S-N-E, resign. You work 40 years and you resign. So I want to add a little public service message in here. Here's a master's report, and he's almost crying.
That master's report, it's been taken down. Which, it really sucks. 173,000. But, alright. It's alright, we gotta move forward here, okay? We gotta move.
He knew it was coming. He got this backup channel. He's only got 36,000 on there, and I'll leave the link to it. Master's Report Vlogs. He's been trying to put his shaky movies on this one so they wouldn't take down his main channel. But he puts up on his two channels. He puts up maybe 5+ movies a day. He stays on top of things. He's always reading, and you can find some links to his MeWe and stuff here too. But he's one of the good guys. He's always, before all this election crap started, he was always watching the police abuse, and he was on top of all the law abusing people. But this is where you're going to find him at Master's Report Vlogs. If you can't find him as Master's Reports anymore, he's always got something good. You can catch him over here on MeWe, and he puts a lot of stuff up there that he knows will get him taken off of YouTube. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. And you can catch me, looks like this on MeWe, the link's down there. Alright, good day.